Medical responsibility is the professional responsibility of anyone who performs healthcare activity causing damage to the patient through errors, omission, or violation of the obligation inherent to the activity itself. We find ourselves in front of a case of medical responsibility, generally speaking, when there is a causal link between the injury to the patient's physical health and the conduct of the healthcare worker who takes care of it. Obviously excluded from medical responsibility are cases where subjective variability or an atypical course, as well as certain pathology that, although appropriately treatment, may nevertheless present complication, such as COVID-19 pandemic, have caused all health complaints to lapse precisely because of the exceptional nature of the events. Since medical responsibility can be more or less serious and can be divided into various categories, in an Italian court of appeal, the sentence will be issued according to the laws of the civil and criminal code of our state. The tort in this case will be either non-contractual or contractual, and according to this, sanctioned differently. When examining the case in the light of the latest legislative reform in Italy, starting with the law decree number 158, the so-called Balduzzi law, and the Gelli Bianco law of 2017, the examination cannot disagree the different consideration of the relationship between the physician and the patient, focusing on the importance of the will, the autonomy of the patient, who must have given free and informed consent by contract. Depending on the different cases, medical responsibility judge and sanction as moral responsibility, in which it is easy to see the suspension of ethical principles, as in the case of moral and existential damage, an administrative and disciplinary responsibility when obligation relating to the service provided, official duties, or ethical rules are violated, as in the case of COVID-19, and the legal responsibility for the violation of the criminal and civil law, as in the case of biological, psychological, and technological damage. The medical staff or the structure are found guilty and therefore sanctioned wherein they are negligent conduct resulting in the personal injury, death of the assistant person. Doctors are held accountable for their professional conduct on the basis of the concept of negligence as defined in the Article 43 of the Italian Criminal Code, according to which an event that, even if foreseen, is not indeed by the agent, but occurs due to negligence, imprudence, inexperience, or failure to comply with law, regulation, orders, and disciplines, is to be considered negligent. The subject of the assessment of damages shall also be the time when the error committed by the doctor occurred. This may be an error in the diagnostic phase, as in the case of an incorrect diagnostic classification of the pathology starting from the inaccurate collection of amnestic data, or the underestimation of a certain alarming symptomatology. A prognostic error, on the other hand, derives from prediction of the course and above all of the outcome of a given clinical picture, which however turns out to be wrong, perhaps because it is linked to a diagnostic error. An error in the therapeutic phase concerns the choice of medical treatment or its implementation. However, there may be cases in which, despite the presence of a correct diagnosis and a suitable defined therapeutic course of action, it is wrong to perform surgery due to inexperience or negligence of the physician. There are various laws governing medical responsibility in the world, but in many countries the same laws have not been adopted as in Italy, and people can be the consequences of the incorrect medical intervention. So it's important that those of us who has law to protect ourselves continue to enforce and apply them. May tragic damage are sometimes underestimated, as in the case of moral and existential damage. Ignorance of the legislative system governing medical responsibility means that claims against a professional or health facility are often not made because it's wrongly believed that there is no clear and valid reason for doing so. so unless it is a death of the patient. In reality, there are many reasons why appeals should be made. First and foremost, to ensure that those who have caused irreversible damage to other person do not get away with it. Because yes, the damage is not necessarily caused by medical negligence or malpractice. Sometimes it's simply the case. But this will have to be determined by a court of experts who will review the evidence again and again to judge whether it was a case of medical importance or whether it was the result of negligence.